Welcome to the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We are located on the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. Today is February the 5th, 2018, and your radio host today, so far, is me, Shavice McBride. We will be reading the news from the Monday Fayetteville Observer. Today your weather is 50 degrees, partly to mostly sunny and cooler. Tonight will be 28 degrees, clear and cold. Tuesday will be 61 degrees and 41 degrees at night, mostly sunny, pleasant, and warmer. Wednesday, 70 degrees and 45 degrees. Rain, breezy in the afternoon. Thursday, morning will be the high will be 52 degrees and the low will be 29 degrees, partly sunny and cooler. For Friday, in the morning, the high will be 58 degrees and the low will be 38 degrees, sunny. Saturday, the high is 54 degrees and low is 50 degrees. Considerable cloudiness. Sunday, the high will be 63 degrees and the low 45 degrees. Cloudy with a chance of rain. Today in history. Today again is Monday, February 5th, the 36th day of 2018. There are 329 days left in the year. Today's highlight: on February 5th, 1918, during World War I, the Colonial liner SS Tuscana, which was transporting about 2,000 American troops to Europe, was torpedoed by a German U-boat in the Irish Sea with the loss of more than 200 people. In 1631, the founder of Rhode Island, Roger Williams, and his wife, Mary, arrived in Boston from England. In 1783, Sweden recognized the independence of the United States. In 1887, Verdi's opera Otello premiered at La Scala. In 1917, the U.S. Congress passed over President Woodrow Wilson's veto an act severely curtailing Asian immigration. Birthdays: Baseball Hall of Famer Hank Aaron is 84. Financial writer Jane Bryant Quinn is 79. Football Hall of Famer Roger Staubach is 76. Rock singer Al Cooper is 74. Actress Charlotte Rampling is 72. Racing Hall of Famer Darrell Waltrip is 71. Actress Barbara Hershey is 70. Actor Christopher Guest is 70. Actor comedian Tim Meadows is 57. Actress Jennifer Jason Lee is 56. Actress Laura Linney is 54. Actor comedian Chris Parnell is 51. Singer Bobby Brown is 49. Country singer Sarah Evans is 47. Actor singer Darren Criss is 31. Happy birthday! Need to know. 1. Spring Rose Korean Presbyterian Church's annual Spring Rose Sale is Thursday through Saturday. The hours are 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Thursday and Friday, and 8 a.m. to noon on Saturday. The church is at 1251 Ireland Drive, Spring Rose. 10 for $7 are sold with veils of spicy sweet sauce. For more information, call 323-0439 or 910-323 2466. FSU Speaker Series best-selling author Margaret Shutterling will speak at Fayetteville State University on Tuesday as part of the Chancellor Speaker Series. Her talk will be at 7 p.m. in the J.W. Seabrook Auditorium. It is free and open to the public. Shirley is the author of Hidden Figures, The American Dream, and the Untold Story of the Black Woman Mathematicians Who Helped Win the Space Race. Fake News. The Writing Center at Methodist University is having a panel discussion, Fake News, and Information Literacy in the Disciplines on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Members of the university's faculty and staff will discuss the epidemic of fake news and the need for information literacy. The free event is open to the public. For more information, call 910-630-7264. And lastly, actor shooter preparedness class. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office is holding an active shooter preparedness class for heads of church organization at 6:30 p.m. Tuesday. The event is open to leaders of any faith-based organization within the country. The training is free and there is no formal registration. Seating is limited to 60. Contact Sergeant Chris Taylor at 910-223-3323 to reserve a seat. We want to hear from you, so please submit your events in writing at least 10 days in advance. Email calendar at fayettevilleobserver.com or fax details to 910-486-3545. For questions, call 910-486-3500.
7 weeks later, Jumanji is #1 at box office. The hire to Titanic is Jumanji. Welcome the Jungle. For the first time since James Cameron's 1998 disaster epic, a December release has topped the weekend box office in February. 7 weeks after first opening in theaters, Sony Pictures' Jumanji again took the top spot at the North American box office with an estimated $11 million in ticket sales, according to studio estimates Sunday. On a sluggish Super Bowl weekend, that was good enough to surpass last week's #1 film, Maze Runner: The Death Cure. The third installment in a YA trilogy slid 58% in its second week with $10.2 million in ticket sales. Though The Death Cure is behind the pace of the first two Maze Runner films, it's made $142.9 million overseas, including an international best $35.2 million this weekend. But it's the fourth weekend out of 7 in which the Jumanji reboot starring Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart has led all films domestically. It has carved an unlikely path en route to its record-setting run. Met with little initial fanfare, Jumanji played second fiddle for its first 2 weeks of release to Star Wars: The Last Jedi. But riding good word of mouth and relatively little family film competition, Jumanji has become one of Sony's biggest hits ever, ranking behind only its Spider-Man films. It has now grossed $350.6 million in the U.S. and Canada. The Helen Mirren-led haunted house horror film, Winchester, was the sole new wide release on a weekend that Hollywood typically cedes to football. The poorly reviewed Lionsgate CBS Films release about the true life tale of the 19th century heiress Sarah Winchester opened with $9.3 million. Total ticket sales were $92 million, according to Cumberland.com score are some that falls behind recent Super Bowl weekends, always among the quietest movie weekends of the year, but above the lowest grossing ever. This is a slow news day, but we're going to get some more news on the air for you. This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts this morning are
Shafis McBride
and Beverly Simonette. We are proud to serve you today.
Public Safety, Cumberland County. Arrest Mitchell Douglas Fairclough, 28 of the 300 block of Waving Circle, was charged Sunday with obtaining property under false pretense, misdemeanor stolen goods, and misdemeanor larceny. Bail was set at $5,000. Emmanuel Stephens, 38 of the first block of Chambers Street in Lumberton, was charged Sunday with habitual larceny. Bail was set at $10,000. Terrace Lamont Lavelle, 35 of the 2100 block of Grand Prix Drive, was charged Sunday with common law robbery and misdemeanor assault on a female. Bail was set at $10,000.
Blitzer road death investigated. Fayetteville homicide detectives are investigating the death of a 21-year-old woman found in her home Saturday afternoon. The woman's body was found in her home on the 1600 block of about 2:30 p.m. Saturday by a family member. Saturday, police are withholding the woman's name until additional family members have been notified. Police say the woman was found unresponsive and pronounced dead at the home. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner will determine the cause of death. Anyone with information regarding the death is asked to call Detective C. Cruz at 751-1046. I repeat, 751-1046, or Crime Stoppers at 483-8477. That number again is 483-8477. Crime Stoppers information can also be submitted electronically by visiting http://fay-nc-crimestoppers.org and completing the anonymous tip sheet. Tips can also be submitted through the P3 Tips app. This article was written by Amanda Dolansinski.
Cumberland Matters. Set up early for Mid-Carolina Senior Games. Applications are being accepted for the Mid-Carolina Senior Games, which run April 19th through May 8th. The games offer athletic and artistic competition for anyone age 50 and above. The Senior Games are sponsored by the Mid-Carolina Council of Governments and are open to athletes and artists in Cumberland, Harnett, and Sampson counties. The early bird registration deadline is February 28th, and the final registration deadline is March 21st. Those who qualify in the Mid-Carolina Games will be invited to participate in the Senior Games State Finals in Raleigh. The State Finals 2018 will be qualifying event for National Senior Games in 2019 to be held in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The annual games offer opportunities to stay fit, have fun, and make friends. Sports categories include basketball, shooting, table tennis, swimming, badminton, golf, bowling, and track events. There are plenty of non-athletic events in the silver arts competition, such as painting, sculpture, knitting, sewing, writing, and dramatic arts. Cheerleaders and volunteers are also needed for the Senior Games. For more information, go to mccog.org or call Tracy Honeycutt at 910-323-4191, extension 27, or email thoneycutt@mccog.org. Mid-Carolina's offices are located in the historic courthouse, 130 Gillespie Street, Fayetteville. Animal shelter renovations. The Cumberland County Animal Control Shelter, located at 4704 Corporation Drive, will resurface shelter floors starting today. While the work is being done, adoptable dogs will be housed in other areas of the facility. Once all those areas are full, up to 20 overflow dogs will be housed at Fayetteville Pet Resort, 2102 Strickland Bridge Road. Dogs at both locations will be available for adoption. Animal Control will have a designated building with a separate entrance and parking lot at Fayetteville Pet Resort. This will allow for public access to the adoptable dogs outside of the pet resort's normal operating hours. Animal Control adoption hours are Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Sunday from 1 to 5 p.m. Adoption hours for pets housed at Fayetteville Pet Resort will be Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. The floors in the shelter area must be sealed with epoxy to prevent the spread of infections, diseases, and to maintain their integrity as water-resistant floors. Learn how to make yogurt. Cumberland County Corporation Extension will offer a yogurt making workshop February 15th from 10 a.m. to noon at the Agriculture Center, 301 E Mountain Drive, Fayetteville. The $10 registration fee is due by February 13th. To sign up, call 910-321-6405 or email Susan_Johnson@ncsu.edu. The class is part of Corporation Extension's Better Living series. See a complete series schedule at cumberland.ces.ncsu.edu. Cumberland Update. Today, Board of Commissioners regular menu meetings begin at 9 a.m. at the Cumberland County Courthouse, 117 Dick Street, room 118. Watch the meeting live at the country's website at cove.cumberland.nc.us.
Storm relief panhandling on agenda. City staff will update the Fayetteville City Council on a number of issues, including Hurricane Matthew relief, the city's panhandling policy, and UDO committee during a council work session today. City Manager Doug Hewitt said relief efforts for Hurricane Matthew, a storm that devastated the region in October 2016, are ongoing. The staff will update members of the City Council on the progress of several programs aiming to help victims. We're going to update them on the houses that are going to be bought and that are going to be elevated. Hewitt said, we are going to give them an update on the Mirror Lake Dam that Councilmember Dawkins is interested in, as well as all of the private dams that people have asked us to study. More than 1.5 feet of rain poured down on some areas of Fayetteville during the hurricane. Many earthen dams are damaged and breached by the flooding that followed. Residents in some communities will likely have to pay much or all of the repair costs for private dams damaged by the hurricane. The City Council last discussed the issue of panhandling during a work session in late October. Several council members at that session said they were concerned that panhandling was growing despite a 2008 ordinance that restricted it in certain areas. During that October work session, former Councilman Chalmers McDougald and current Councilman Bill Crisp expressed interest in finning people who give money to panhandlers as a deterrence. They're not going to stop, McDougall said in October, until they have something to lose. City staff will present council members with a draft of a new ordinance addressing the issue. At today's work session, the staff and council also will discuss the UDO committee formed by Crisp. The Unified Development Ordinance, often referred to as UDO, is a set of rules and regulations that govern how land is used and developed in the city. The ordinance went into effect in 2011 and has proved controversial among the development community. Chris will announce the members of the committee and discuss its goals at the work session. Chris first began talking about creating the committee last fall. He said the committee, which will be a mix of council members, city staff, and residents, will comb through the regulations and ensure it is not too restricted. During the council's recent strategic planning retreat, Councilman Johnny Dawkins expressed concern that the UDO needs to be more business friendly and is holding back development in the city. The work session is at 5 p.m. Staff writer Monica Venturi can be reached at mventioli@fayettevilleobserver.com or 486-3596.
Nearly $248,000 raised for Bill Shaw Christmas Fund. Thank you. We are happy to report that you, the generous people in our community, raised nearly $248,000 for the Bill Shaw Salvation Army Christmas Fund during the holidays. Today we're publishing our final list that includes donations that came in right around Christmas. Leading this list is Charlene Riddle Williams, who contributed $10,000 to the fund. What a wonderful, generous gift from someone who has done so much for our community, she and her family. We're also incredibly grateful for the $1,000 gifts from the Sammy and Carol Short Advised Fund, Harry Plumbing, a mechanical company incorporated, John and Paul Bird, and the Richard L. Hensel Advised Fund. We're equally thankful for all the donations of any size. Every dollar made a difference in the Salvation Army's crusade to provide a little joy for every child in our region at Christmas. This fund also ensures that the organization can meet the many needs in our community all year long. One final thought as we close the books on 2017, we hope that the spirit of Christmas sticks in your heart longer than your New Year's resolutions. Everyone loves to give a volunteer around the holidays, but thousands of our children, seniors, and families are living with hunger, homelessness, and other crises that don't disappear come January 1st. Find out how you can volunteer to serve hot meals, help raise money, or put your talents to use with any of the charities around town. And thank you again to all our donors to the Bill Shaw Fund. Charlene Riddle Williams donated $10,000. Anonymous, $2,000. Sammy and Kale Short Advised Fund, $100,000. Hair Plumbing and Mechanic Company Incorporated in memory of H.R. and Louis Hare Sr., $1,000. John and Paula Bird in memory of Robert Carpenhafer, $1,000. Richard L. Hensendale Advised Fund in memory of Ray Hensendale, $1,000. John Ashford in memory of our son Mike, $100. Brenda Baker, $100. Winfred Barnes, $25. Judy Barrett in memory of Mary Rose Barrett, $25. Doris Bullet, $50. Emily Borkel, $100. Annie Bolton, $100. Kitsy and Franklin Bundy, $100. Ronald and Jane Boyard, $100. Jerry Carter, $20. Chris Cates, $35. Annie Crumpton, $20. Mr. and Miss David K. Darden, $30. Tony Dempsey, $30. Jessica Fikes, $5. Jesse Frezzi, $20. Mildred Furry in memory of Clarence Furry, $100. Stephen Gaskins, $10. Harmel and Brenda Gordon, $100. Helen Haynes in honor of the administration, faculty, and staff at West Hoke Elementary School, $150. Helen Haynes in honor of the administration, faculty, and staff at a Upchurch Elementary School, $150. O.W. Ivy, $20. Kathy Johnson, $25. Margaret Johnson, $150. William Julian, $50. Elaine Kendall, $25. Kathleen Klingsmith, in memory of Matt Word, $75. Raymond and Martha McKay, Jr., $35. Karen and John McDonald, $150. Reverend John J. Monroe in memory of Miss Helen W. Monroe, $100. Sterling R. Morris, $50. Margaret R. Owen in loving memory of retired Command Sergeant Maj. John C. Owen and Galen Owen Crow, $100. Rosemary Perdue in memory of Rick Perdue, $100. Jeff Wiatzel, $250. Marilyn Ridgen in memory of my sons Michael Gutierrez and Fernie Ricken, $50. Pat Rosamo in memory of my father Ora Lee Reed, $100. Janata Raymonds, $200. Stephen and Patricia Runkle, $500. Randy and Sidonia Shuckham, $50. Joan Sheldon, $75. Catherine Shooter, $100. Helen Shemite in memory of Walter Shemite, $100. Elvin Smith, $25. Charles Solomon, $150. Chris Spears in honor of the employees of South River EMC, $150. Doris and Robert Spell in honor of Doris M. Johnston and Dr. Peggy A. Johnston, $200. Danny Stafford, $20. Walter and Harriet Swings, $25. Jesse Toller, $100. Kawaku Tumasi and Kara, $25. Levon and Doug Watts in memory of Pat Lucas, $50. Teresa Wells, $50. Charles and Alva Williams, $10. Mamie Williams, $10. Elves of Sycamore Dairy, $820. Evangelical Association of America, $200. Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, $200. Gore Built Homes Incorporated, $100. Lamont Investments LLC, $200. Roddy Reindeer of North Thorncliffe Drive, $800. Tar Heel Roofing of Fayetteville, $100. The Lafayette Doll and Toy Club of North Carolina, $50. Anonymous in honor of Eleanor Manning, $100. And finally, Anonymous Other, $1,720. Total, $25,780. Thank you guys again for a donation.
Theater reaches out to autistic audiences, Cape Fear Regional, to present sensory-friendly version of Seussical the Musical. Against the pastel-colored backdrop, the actors and dancers in Cape Fear Regional Theater's Seussical the Musical took the stage on a recent evening. The occasion was a run-through of the play, which continues through February 25th. Technical staff and director Melissa Rain Anderson watched as the performers went through their paces, creating the magical world of Dr. Seuss through song, dance, and story. Amy Perry sat a few rows back, pen in hand, watching the action intently, making the occasional notation on a pad of paper. An autism resource specialist with the Autism Society of North Carolina, Perry was looking for triggers that might upset or confuse people with autism or other sensory disorders. Cape Fear Regional Theater is presenting a sensory-friendly production of the play Sunday. The idea is to welcome the theater people for whom the bright lights, loud sounds, and brash energy of a stage production might otherwise be too much to handle. Tickets will be available to the general public as well. For the theater artistic director, Mary Kay Burke, the production is a way to further the theater's philosophy of inclusion and reach as wide an audience as possible. The DNA of the theater is about celebrating all walks of life, Burke said. It's where you can see somebody whose life isn't like yours. So making that available to everybody is very important. The idea for a sensory-friendly performance has been around for a while at the theater, said Michael Hawk, its audience services manager. Hawk said the theater looked at the idea before last year's performance of The Little Mermaid. Both that play and Seussical the Musical are high-energy shows designed to appeal to all ages. Both feature the acrobatic talents of the New York-based troupe Two-Ring Circus. We didn't feel like we had the planning timeline to do it right then, Hawk said. With something like this, you have to do it right. The program is being supported by the Junior League of Fayetteville. For Seussical, the theater contacted the Autism Society of North Carolina. They were put in touch with Perry, who was enthusiastic about the idea. Perry's excitement about the project is both professional and personal. Her 21-year-old daughter, Heaven, is on the autism spectrum. Perry said she is especially sensitive to loud noises. We're longtime attendees of Cape Fear Regional Theater, but we've never taken our daughter because you don't know how she will respond, Perry said. According to the Autism Speaks website, autism is a range of conditions characterized by problems with social skills, including communication. Some people with the disorder may display repetitive behaviors, and can be sensitive to bright lights, loud sounds, or other stimulation. So, some of the things people enjoy most about theater, the colorful costumes, the energetic music, can upset people with autism who may have trouble processing the stimulation. There are plenty of colorful costumes and brash, zangy sounds in Seussical the Musical. The play brings to life some of Dr. Seuss's most beloved characters, including the Cat in the Hat, Horton the Elephant, and Maisie the Bird. A lot of fun, but also a lot to take in. I might be looking for loud noises. A lot of our kids are sensitive to that kind of thing, those kinds of things, Perry said. Any sensory triggers, bright lights, loud noises, any unexpected things that might be difficult for a person with autism or another disorder to process. Perry said that any modifications she would suggest would likely be minor and wouldn't distract from the overall enjoyment of the production. The theater plans other changes for the sensory-friendly performance beyond what would be happening on stage. Hawk said the theater will provide a safe space where audience members can go if the stimulation becomes too much. The show will be live streamed in the theater's glass block room for those who want to watch it there. The room will have some tactile objects that they may find comfortable, Hawk said. The sensory-friendly performance will be shush-free, Hawk said. Some people with autism or other disorders might make noises that sound odd to others on the sensory-friendly night. Such sounds will be tolerated, no shushing. Also, the theater will offer noise-canceling headphones for the audience. A visual guide on what to expect when you come to the theater will be made available to parents with autistic children. Among other things, the guide will show what the actors in the play look like in the costume in their regular clothes. It may be slightly different, possibly, than if you come the day before or the day after, Hawk said. The lights may be halved, the sound will be reduced, so the music and the special effects may not be as loud as they would normally be. Burke said that she knows that the sights and sounds that most people take for granted in a play can overload a person with sensory disorder. She said a friend of hers in New York has an autistic son. She said, I'd love to take him to the theater, but I would be stressed during the show, worrying about him, Burke said. As Perry watched the Seussical actors perform a run-through of the play, they were dressed in their regular clothes, not the costumes they would wear for the actual production. The crew cheered as the cast finished each number. Anderson gave occasional direction, fine-tuning the performance. Perry sat quietly, taking notes. Later she planned to meet with Anderson, Burke, and others to give her feedback. Perry said she was excited about having a part in the sensory-friendly performance and helping make the show as accessible as possible to as wide an audience as possible. She hopes her daughter is a part of that audience. I'm really looking forward to taking her to a live performance like this. She said, I'm looking forward to being a part of a theater where everybody understands everybody else. Staff writer Roger Mullen can be reached at mullen@fayettevilleobserver.com or 486-3561.
This is the Southern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the capitalized CENCRRS, and mine. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-676-1600. That's 910-676-1600. Or our toll-free number is 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts are
Beverly Simonette
and Shavice McBride, and we are proud to serve you today.
Casting director, actress to share insights. Winsome Singular has some advice for young people considering a career in entertainment industry. Prepare now. It can look glamorous on the outside, but it's a lot of work, she said. Sinclair, a casting director who has worked on movies including Waiting to Exhale, Amistad, and Precious, will be part of a Black History Month initiative being sponsored by the Arts Council of Fayetteville, Cumberland County. Sinclair and actress Trishina Arnold, who has appeared in TV shows including Everybody Hates Chris and Daytime Divas, are scheduled to speak at Fayetteville State University on February 17 as part of a True to Yourself film talk. The talk is scheduled for 7 p.m. in Seabrook Auditorium. Tickets are $20 general admission and $10 for students. Also included in the Arts Council Black History Month initiative is Script to Screen, a one-day intensive workshop for high school students on film production, including script writing, production, distribution, and other aspects. The workshop is scheduled for February 16th at FSU. The project is so exciting, and it's something that the Arts Council has not ventured into before, said Deborah Martin-Mintz, the Arts Council Executive Director. The Arts Council announced the initiative Thursday. Sinclair spoke via a video hookup from Atlanta. Sinclair has worked with directors including Steven Spielberg, Spike Lee, Olivia Jones, and John Singleton, casting both principal actors and extras. One of her most recent projects is the HBO movie Bessie, based on the life of blues singer Bessie Smith. Sinclair called the initiative phenomenal. She said she looked forward to sharing her knowledge of the entertainment industry with young people in Fayetteville. While she said she didn't want to go into too many details about the February 17th presentation, Sinclair said she will encourage the young people to work hard now to achieve their goals later. She promised that she and Anna will give insights they might not be able to gain elsewhere. I want people to come prepared with questions, Sinclair said, not things you can Google, things that only the two people in the room can answer. Along with the FSU partnership, the initiative is being sponsored by Piedmont Gas, which represented the Arts Council a $15,000 check on Thursday. When we work together, we make extraordinary things happen in this community, Mint said. More information is available at theatrescouncil.com. Staff writer Roger Mullen can be reached at rmullen@fayeobserver.com or 486-3561.
Town Board to discuss newspaper promotion by Roger Mullen. Hope Mills, the town's arrangement with up-and-coming weekly newspaper, is scheduled to be discussed at tonight's Board of Commissioners meeting. Under an agreement reached in September, the board agreed to pay the newspaper $28,000 over a year for 2 pages of stories each week promoting and marketing the town and its businesses. Town manager Melissa Adams said the amount is billed quarterly and that the town has paid $8,792 so far. She said the arrangement is an agreement, not a signed contract. At a meeting last month, Commissioner Meg Larson objected to the arrangement. She said she also objected to commissioners and department heads being asked by up-and-coming to contribute articles to the publication. I feel like if they want to market the town and we pay them $28,000, then up-and-coming should market the town, Larson said. I don't think that's how tax money should be spent. Larson is one of the 3 commissioners who took office in December after the agreement was reached. The town invited up-and-coming publisher Bill Bowman to speak to the board. Bowman said he will be there Monday. What I'm going to do on Monday is answer the questions, make sure everybody understands what the initiative is, say why the commissioners approved it in the first place, and answer any questions that might have from, Bowman said. Bowman said he believes the arrangement is good for the town. He pointed to a Hope Mills initiative, the newspaper sponsored in December that brought together town and state officials and residents to talk about the town's future. After that meeting, there was no doubt in anyone's mind that the town had made a good decision, Bowman said. Bowman said no town official is being forced to contribute to the publication, but he noted that other public officials contribute to the newspaper. He said the arrangement is a recognition of how fast Hope Mills is growing. Larson said she thinks the money the town is paying up-and-coming could be better spent elsewhere. I would rather see $28,000 go to a new employee, she said. To me, that would be a better use of taxpayer money than self-promotion. The meeting is at 7 p.m. in Town Hall, 5770 Rockfish Road.
Poor People's Campaign readies mobilization. The renewed version of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s campaign to lift poor people is holding its national mobilization with actions and events planned today in 32 states and the nation's capital. Poor people, clergy, and activists in the Poor People's Campaign plan to deliver letters to politicians in state capitol buildings demanding that leaders confront what they call systematic racism, evidence in voter suppression laws, and poverty rates. Among those who have signed on the campaign is the Reverend John Mendez, pastor of Emmanuel Baptist Church in Winston-Salem, who recall protesting in New York City in the 1960s. I've been waiting for almost 50 years for this to actually happen, said Mendez, 68. The campaign is especially important now because the leaders who don't want to help the poor should not have the free hand to say and do whatever they want, and there be no resistance, he said. Led by the Reverends William Barber of North Carolina and Liz Thea Harris of New York, the campaign officially began December 4th, 50 years after King started the first Poor People's Campaign. There's a photograph of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Reverend Ralph Abernathy to the right of him lead a march on behalf of striking Memphis, Tennessee sanitation workers on March 28th in 1968. Terrific. Okay. King was assassinated a few months after, and nobody really picked it up until now, Mendez said. The letters to politicians call for a new course of government. Our faith, traditions, and state and federal constitutions all testify to the immortality of an economy that leaves out the poor. Yet our political discourse consistently ignores the 140 million poor and low-income people in America, the letter states. Barber, who will be among the group that delivers letters to the office of House Speaker Paul Ryan and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, said the campaign is building toward a season of direct action and civil disobedience that begins on May 13th and continues through June 21st, the anniversary of the slayings of 3 civil rights workers in 1964 in Philadelphia, Mississippi. The actions, including a poverty tour, will be followed by more work as part of a multi-year campaign, a build power among the poorest and most powerless communities, he added. And on February 12th, the 50th anniversary of the sanitation worker strike that brought King to Memphis, where he was assassinated. Fast food cooks and cashiers plan to walk off their jobs in Memphis to support higher wages and union rights. Protesters plan to march from Claiborne Temple to Memphis City Hall, the same route the sanitation workers took. The most important part of the campaign that the people who are hurting because of poverty and racism are its leaders, Theo Harris says. I feel very positive that the real heroes and heroines of our country are coming together to cross all kinds of lines that usually divide us, like race, gender, economic status, political party. Leslie Boyd Candler has followed Barber since he began the Moral Monday protest movement in North Carolina almost 5 years ago. Her son, Mike Danforth, was 33 when he died of colon cancer in 2008 because he lacked insurance, even though he had a job and couldn't afford the yearly colonoscopies that he needed. Her hope for the campaign is that it changes what she sees as a national narrative that not only blames the poor for poverty, but uses religion to do so. Too many people believe that if you were a good person, Jesus would bless you, she said. U.S. Census figures show that the poverty rate among blacks were 22% in 2016, while it was almost 9% among whites. But in sheer numbers, almost 17.5 million white people are classified as living in poverty, compared to 8.7 million blacks. The U.S. poverty rate was almost 13% in 2016. It's not immoral to be poor, said Boyd, 65. It's immoral to make people poor with our actions as a government and as a people. I repeat, it is not immoral to be poor, said Boyd, 65. It is immoral to make people poor with our actions as a government and as a people.
Wing orders take flight. Local restaurants prepare popular fare for Super Bowl fans. Early Sunday afternoon, Nora Carpenter dropped half a dozen crispy wings into a bowl and tossed them around in the spicy sauce. The kitchen was mellow, but in just a few hours, Carpenter and 4 other cooks would be hustling as they tossed dozens of wings for the hungry Super Bowl fans following the Wing Company restaurant downtown. We're ready, Carpenter said. Millions of people tune in to watch the Super Bowl, but regardless of which teams are playing, everyone has an appetite for the traditional game, day eats. In fact, Super Bowl Sunday is the second largest day for American food consumption, behind Thanksgiving, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. During the game alone, Americans consume about 2,000 calories each, according to experts. That's a lot of chicken wings, pizza, and beer. We doubled our order of chicken wings for the Super Bowl, said Melanie Momoa, general manager for the Wing Company. The restaurant ordered 4,000 wings for hungry fans. Momoa said the restaurant would be packed to watch the game on its 20 televisions and projector, but they were also filling takeout orders. Among their most popular flavors, Mumot said people placed orders for sweet chili, mustard-based cold yellow, and spicy. We're super excited, she said. It's going to be the best place to be for the game. The Fayetteville Buffalo Wild Wings was also preparing for its Super Bowl orders on Sunday. Thomas Humphrey, the restaurant's general manager, said he expected to fill orders for about 10,000 pounds of traditional and boneless wings on Sunday. It's the busiest day, he said. Across the country, Americans are expected to eat 1.33 billion wings, according to the National Chicken Council. Americans will also be mashing 104.8 million pounds of avocados for their guacamole dips, according to the California Avocado Commission. As for potato chips to munch on during the game, Americans will spend about $227 million, according to Nielsen, and they'll spend even more money for beer, about $1.2 billion. Finally, Americans will be spending about $12.5 million for pizzas during the game. Early Saturday, the Papa John's Pizza Shop on Rayford Road had already begun delivering orders. King Aylan, the store manager, said the crew was expecting orders ramped up later in the day. It's usually the busiest day of the year, he said.
Policy quakes shift ground beneath our feet. One of the more annoying things about politics is that you can swing from left to right or vice versa without ever changing positions. For instance, in 2002, I came in favor of same-sex domestic partnerships or civil unions. This was widely seen as a compromise between advocates of gay marriage and opponents. It would offer all the rights and benefits of marriage while still reserving the institution of marriage itself for heterosexual couples. But then that was a very left-wing thing for some to do, and for conservatives like yours truly, it was a kind of apostasy. Various social conservatives attacked me, but within a few years, the zeitgeist moved dramatically on the issue, denying gays the last benefit of marriage. The word itself was bigotry and right-wing extremists. In other words, I didn't move. The ground underneath me did. This is an old story in politics. Ronald Reagan used to say he never left the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left him. Sometimes the parties don't change sides, rather the party moves much further in one direction, moving the center of gravity between the two parties within. Reagan did this on economics. Prior to Reagan, both parties were essentially liberal on the role of government in the economy. But Reagan moved the GOP to the libertarian right, campaigning less regulation, lower taxes, and freer markets. If you're interested in the particular position, it can be disorienting to leave through one of these moments. Tectonic plates are always moving, and when they move suddenly, not only does the ground under your feet move, lots of things come crashing down. You might have noticed we're living in one of these moments. For decades, conservatives extolled the FBI and intelligence agencies as some of the only branches of government worthy of veneration, while liberals saw them as the only parts of big government deserving of distrust and skepticism. But partisanship is a hell of a drug, and now the loudest conservatives are denouncing the abuses of the deep state, while liberals are shocked that anyone would question the integrity of these patriotic guardians of our liberty and safety. My National Review colleague Kevin Williamson recently wrote an interesting essay on how liberals might become the new champions of free trade thanks to Donald Trump's steering of the GOP towards protectionism. Liberals were once the champions of free trade. Republicans were less interested in the free market and more interested in helping big business that didn't want competition from abroad. Immigration, to my mind, the single biggest driver of the populist tumult overtaking our politics, is marked by the slightly different dynamic. Just as the Reagan-era GOP moved the political center to the right, the Obama-era Democrats moved to the left on immigration. Famous liberals such as Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Paul Krugman, Bernie Sanders have said things in the recent past about illegal immigration that will mark them as right-wing today. Trump rhetoric on immigration has been extreme, from his Muslim ban to describing Mexican immigrants as rapists to his comment about asshole countries. He says things and may want things that are objectively extreme, but Trump's actual policy proposal isn't nearly as extreme as what comes out his mouth in the State of Union address. He offered a sweeping amnesty of millions of illegal immigrants in exchange for, among other things, a border wall Democrats at least rhetorically supported a few years ago. Jonah Goldberg is an editor-at-large at National Review Online and a visiting fellow at American Enterprise Institute. Email him at jonahscolumn@aol.com. It's time. It's the top of the hour, and you are listening. This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. A non-profit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts are
Shavis McBride
and Beverlyn Simonette, and we're proud to serve you today. Our obituaries are as follows. Death notices. The following deaths have been reported. You can see the upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Observer for the complete obituary information. In Cumberland County, Clyde McCrae, Matt Turlington, 82 of Fayetteville. The Jernigan Warren Funeral Home will be handling the services. Carolyn F. Bigler, 86 of Fayetteville. The Fayetteville Cremation will be handling the services. Flora Bradford, 79 of Fayetteville. The Herring Funeral Care and Cremations will be handling the services. In the Cape Fear region, Mallory Whitley, 81 of Rayford. The Purcell Funeral Home of Southern Pines will be handling the services. Isabel McLaurin, 97 of Maxton. S&L Funeral Home of Maxton will be handling the services. In Cumberland County, Ms. Dorothy Jean Faison Laughlin, 71 of Fayetteville, departed this life on Thursday, February 1st. The funeral service will be held on Wednesday, February 7th at 1 p.m. in Wiseman Mortuary Chapel. The burial will follow in the Lafayette Memorial Park. The viewing will be on Wednesday at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the mortuary. The family will receive friends at 816 Shakertown Road in Eastover. And the Wiseman Funeral Home will be handling the services. In the region and elsewhere, Miss Noah Smith, 70 of 131 Melissa Drive in Dunn, died on Thursday, February 1st, 2018. The funeral will be on Tuesday at 1 p.m. at Harnett Chapel. That's OFWB Church, 715 East Edgerton Street in Dunn. The viewing will be at Dafford Funeral Home. That's 707 East Edgerton Street in Dunn on Monday at 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. The burial will be at Rest Haven Cemetery in Dunn. The Dafford Funeral Home will be handling the service in Dunn. Alton Leon Stedman of St. Paul's died on Friday, February 2nd, 2018. The funeral will be on Tuesday at 2 p.m. in Pinecrest. Funeral and cremation services at Hope Mill will be handling the services. The visitation will be at Pinecrest Funeral and Cremation Services on Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. The burial will be at Cumberland Cemetery. Leon Harrelson Dowless, 79, known in life as husband, daddy, brother, pa, and friend, peacefully passed on February 3rd, 2018 at his home. He is preceded in death by his beloved wife, Cena Faye Dallas. The family will receive friends from 1 to 2 on Tuesday, February 6, 2018 at Dublin First Baptist Church, followed by the funeral service at 2 with Reverend Cameron McGill officiating. Burial will follow the service in Henry Allen Cemetery on Highway 131 in Bladenboro. Nancy Hawley, Barefoot, 71 of Dunn, died Saturday, February 3rd, 2018. Funeral will be Wednesday at 11 a.m. at Skinner and Smith Funeral Home. Visitation will be at Skinner and Smith Funeral Home on Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Skinner and Smith Funeral Home will be handling the services.
Billy Graham. Only God can rescue us from our pride. Billy Graham. Question. My friend is the kindest and most thoughtful person I know, and yet she has no interest in God or religion. Frankly, she is better than most of the Christians I know. How do you account for this? Miss R.B. Answer. I'm sorry. Answer. I'm sorry your friend has no interest in God, but I'm still thankful for her thoughtfulness. A kind-hearted woman gains honor. Proverbs 11:16. Although she doesn't realize it, her personality didn't happen by accident or chance. Instead, in His grace and mercy, God gave it to her. The same is true for every one of us. We're all different, and ultimately God shaped us and made us what we are. This doesn't mean God is to blame for our selfishness or failures. We alone are responsible for our sins. But in ways we'll never fully understand, God created each of us and made us unique. The Bible says, for you created my inmost being. Psalms 139:13. Does this mean your friend doesn't need God? No, not at all. Only God can rescue her from pride, and only God can make her an even better person. Most of all, only God can give her hope for her life right now, and most of all, hope for eternity. Pray for her, that God will convict her of her need for Christ's forgiveness and salvation. In addition, let her life be a challenge to you. Christ came not only to open the door to heaven for us, but to transform our lives right now. And this happening in your life, Jesus said, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Readers can write to Reverend Billy Graham at the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, 1 Billy Graham Parkway, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28201, or call 877-2-GRAHAM. The website for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association is at billygraham.org. Tribune Media Service.
Dear Abby, family splinters in response to transgender son-in-law. Dear Abby, our daughter Joan and her husband Frank have been married 19 years. Their only child will be 4 next month. A year and a half ago, Frank came out as a transgender female. Joan is handling this exceptionally well. Our son Alex is not. Our family will never have the traditional holidays again because Alex doesn't want his daughters ages 13 and 10 around Frank. We are heartbroken, worried for our children, and confused about how to handle this new family dynamic. Joan plans on remaining in her marriage. Frank is legally changing his name to Anissa, taking hormones, and excited to live her real life. In the meantime, we feel like outsiders looking in. These individuals, all in their 40s, are able to do what they want with their lives. Yet there are children. We have enjoyed so many years of what we thought was a normal life. The thought of never having our family all together in our home again is upsetting. I suppose this scenario happens often, but how do you suggest we cope? Out of Sorts in Washington. Dear Out of Sorts, cope by taking it day by day and making adjustments as necessary. You are not on the outside looking in. You are full-fledged participants in this scenario. Your new daughter-in-law is the same person she has always been. She's not a danger to anyone's daughter. If your son can't accept that, there is nothing you can do about it. Let him know he is always welcome, as is Anissa, at family celebrations. If he can't bring himself to attend, see him and the girls separately. If I have learned one thing in my lifetime, it is to take each day as it comes and make the most of it. Do not look back, pinning for days gone by, and do not obsess about things you cannot control. Think positive and you will get through this. Dear Abby, our neighbor has been hospitalized for 6 months because of a serious accident that left him paralyzed. His wife has been staying in the city near the hospital so she can be with him. My husband and I have been keeping an eye on the house at their request, moving their truck in the driveway so it appears someone is home. The husband returned home a few weeks ago. We received a thank you card from his wife. Inside was a $50 gift card. Inside was $50 in gift cards. We appreciate the thought behind the gift, but would like to return the gift cards. We helped them out with no expectations of anything in return. How do we go about returning them without offending our neighbors? Good deed neighbors. I don't think you should return them. To not accept them in the spirit in which they were given would be doing the couple a disservice. Sometimes the burden of gratitude weighs heavy. This is your neighbor's way of showing you how much your efforts meant to them. So accept the gesture graciously. Readers can write to Dear Abby at dearabby.com or P.O. Box 69440, Los Angeles, California 90069, Universal Play.
Horoscope by Stella Daughter. Born today. You are confident that you are one of the most down-to-earth, straightforward individuals born under your sign. So why do you often feel misunderstood? You are not, in fact, what you think you are. And that's what really counts, isn't it? Aquarius, January 20 through February 18. What was done yesterday cannot be undone today. Begin to devise a plan that can minimize any negative effects of an error. Pisces, February 19th through March 20th. You are nearing the end of an important personal phase just as another is beginning. You want to do all you can to protect your well-being. Aries, March 21st through April 19th. You are willing to do more today than you had originally planned. This is a good thing because you will be forced to take on more. Taurus, April 20th through May 20th. You receive news today that has you reeling, but your recovery will be quick once you realize that you can stay in a position of power. Gemini, May 21st to June 20th. Your influence is felt far and wide today. Others are ready to give you what you want, even though what you want may be quite unorthodox. Cancer, June 21st to July 22nd. What gives you enjoyment today may not be that which pleased you yesterday. You must be willing to learn to do something in a brand new way. Leo, July 23rd, August 20th. You may not be approaching a key situation as logically as others, but your instincts are telling you more than any analysis can offer. Virgo, August 23rd through September 22nd. Some of your worst fears may be allayed today, but you may still be in a position in which you are challenged in a personal way. Libra, September 23rd, October 22nd. You're eager to get out of a situation, but you realize you cannot do it alone. You must be willing to work with a certain someone. Scorpio, October 23rd to November 21st. What you want may not be immediately available, so you must be willing to wait until others have come through as promised. Sagittarius, November 22nd through December 21st. You have more than one essential tool at your disposal today. Use all that you can get your hands on as necessary, and you'll surely succeed. Capricorn, December 22nd through January 19th. The clock is ticking, and yet you're still not sure how a certain problem can be solved. It may be time to get an expert on the case.
Support groups. Celebrate Recovery meets today from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Aaron Lake Baptist Church, located at 1130 Bingham Drive. It's a multi-dimensional, Christ-based 12-step program. Can include PTSD, depression, abuse, drugs, alcohol, and more. You can call them at 424-7211 or John at 723-2319. Suicide Grief Support Group meets at 6:30 p.m. at the Manor Church, located at 5117 Cliffdale Road, Building A. For those who are grieving the loss of a relative, friend, co-worker, or loved one due to suicide, you can give them a call at 910-302-8548. Tia Hart Community Recovery Program meets today at 7 to 8 p.m. It's located at 116 East Elwood Avenue in Rayford. You can call them at 848-1872. Al-Anon meets at 7 p.m. at the Haymont United Methodist Church Youth Activity Center. The address there is 1900 Fort Bragg Road. Call them at 678-8002. Divorce Care meets from 7 to 8:30 today at the Manor Church, located at 5117 Cliffdale Road. You can call Tim or Tracy at 892-5439. In Christ We Do Recover meets from 8 to 9 p.m. today in an open meeting at Hope Harbor Christian Mission on US 301 South Service Road. For chemical dependency, call Woody at 423-0608 or 424-8800, extension 272. Alcoholics Anonymous meets at 7 a.m., noon, 5:30, 8 p.m. at 626 Sandalwood Drive. They meet again at 10 a.m. at 40 Marion Road in Lumberton. At noon, they meet at the Holy Trinity Episcopal Church, located at 1601 Rayford Road. At noon, 5:30, and 5:30, they meet at 604 German Street. At noon, they meet, and 6:30 p.m., they meet at 401 East 1st Street in Lumberton. At 6:30, they meet at Highland Presbyterian Church, located at 111 Highland Avenue. At 6:30 p.m., they meet at the Mayor Reese, located at 560 Wilkes Road. At 7 p.m., they meet at Spring Lake Methodist Church, located at 111 North Bragg Boulevard in Spring Lake. At 8 p.m., they meet at United Methodist Church, located at 4955 Legion Road in Hope Mills. And at 8 p.m., they meet at 400 Prospect Road in Pembroke. The hotlines are 678-8733 or 678-8002. Recovery in Action meets at 8 p.m. at the Manor Church at 5117 Cliffdale Road. You can call them at 867 9151. The Landing for teens 13 to 18 seeking healing from their hurts, hang-ups, and habits meets at 5:30 to 8:30 at the Aaron Lake Baptist Church Family Life Center, located at 1130 Bingham Drive. Narcotics Anonymous. To find weekly meetings, times, and locations, call 866-418-9500 or go to crna.org. People Assisting Victims meets at 7:30 p.m. at the Cumberland County Foundation Building on Green Street. Sex Addicts Anonymous. To find meeting times and locations, call 800-477-8191. Spinal Cord Injury Support Groups meets at 3 p.m. The Spinal Cord Injury Support Group meets at 3 p.m. at Cape Fear Valley Rehab Center Cafeteria. You can call them at 615-4051 or 615-6066. Widows and Widowers meet at 6 p.m. and they rotate restaurant locations. So you can give them a call at 497-5682 or 568-5922 or 867-9582. Take Off Pounds Sensibly meets at 5:30 p.m. at First Baptist Church, located at 202 Summit Drive in Sanford. You can call them at 800-932-8677 or online at tops.org.
Cheers and cheers. Cheers to Hope Mills residents and others who participated in our annual pet adoption event at the Hope Mills Library. We were able to adopt our 15 of 20 pets brought in by the Cumberland County Animal Control Shelter. Thanks to those who adopted or just visited us to share some love. A huge thanks to everyone who worked this event because it couldn't have happened without you. Sarah Thornton, Fayetteville. Cheers to Mike, manager of Logan Roadhouse. Every year for our Christmas party, he goes above and beyond our expectations. Mike is not only the manager, but has become a friend to all of us. But not only to us, he goes around and checks on all patrons to make sure everyone is happy. Thank you, Mike. We look forward to seeing you in 2018. Gwen Pruitt on behalf of Bonnie Doon Baptist Church.
State briefs. Death penalty sought for inmate in officer's death. Prosecutors want the death penalty for an inmate accused of beating to death a correctional officer who rushed to extinguish fire set in a prison dormitory trash can. Multiple media organizations report that District Attorney Valerie Aspel last month advised a Bertie County judge she would seek the death penalty against Craig Winsett. He's accused of beating to death Sergeant Megan Callahan with the fire extinguisher she used to douse the fire inside Bertie Correctional Institution last year. The 36-year-old Winsett was already serving a life sentence for a June 2000 murder in Fayetteville. Callahan was the first of 5 North Carolina prison workers to die last year in 2 attacks by inmates. State prisons have been severe staff shortages, putting workers in danger. Freezing rain haunts takeoff from airports. Freezing rain is preventing jets from leaving Charlotte's airport, potentially snarling air traffic passing through one of the busiest U.S. airline hubs. Charlotte Douglas International Airport grounded flights leaving the airport late Sunday morning. Flights continue to arrive at the airport that is the scene of more than 700 departures and landings each day. Charlotte is the second busiest hub airport for American Airlines. The National Weather Service said up to a tenth of an inch of ice could accumulate on the elevated surface like aircraft Sunday morning before temperatures rose into the 40s. The Weather Service said the North Carolina mountains had recorded up to 4 inches of snow by Sunday morning.
Studies middle age isn't too late to boost fitness. Late January can be a difficult time for anyone who began a new exercise routine on New Year's Day. Research has shown that nearly half all resolutions have faded by the end of January, and things only get worse after that. The situation can look especially dire for middle-life adults beginning an exercise habit after years of inactivity. If you find yourself struggling, 3 new studies might rekindle your motivation. All conclude that midlife and older adults can sustain an exercise routine and gain a range of health benefits. The most remarkable of the papers, reversing the cardiac effects of sedentary aging in middle age, was published in Circulation, the Journal of the American Heart Association. It went where no previous exercise study has gone, lasting 2 years rather than the more customary 3 to 4 months. The researchers employed a randomized prospective design with both an experimental group and controls. For precision results, they plopped into their subjects' heart ventricles. Individuals in the exercise group who had an average age of 53, when they started working out after years of sedentary living, increased their aerobic fitness by 18%. They also improved their cardiac compliance or elasticity by 25%. The improvement in cardiac elasticity was deemed particularly noteworthy, as it had never been seen before in midlife adults. Loss of elasticity is a major cause of heart failure, which results in many hospitalizations and deaths in the over 65 population. The biggest and most surprising result of our study was the magnitude of the increased cardiac compliance, said Ben Levine, senior author and director of the Institute for Exercise and Environmental Medicine in Dallas. A 25% increase in cardiac elasticity is huge. It allows the heart to fill more easily and pump more blood. The control group practiced yoga, balance exercises, or strength training 3 times a week for 2 years, much more than many inactive adults. Yet their aerobic fitness declined by 3% and their cardiac compliance didn't change. This was a very sophisticated study, even a sensational one, commented Paul Thomas, a cardiologist at Hartford Hospital in Connecticut. Thompson was not involved in the study but has been conducting heart and exercise research for 4 decades. In earlier studies, Levine had shown that older athletes have roughly the same degree of cardiac compliance as young adults. However, he had also discovered that regular exercise couldn't increase the cardiac compliance of subjects over 65. Now he believes he has found the sweet spot in time when adults can still enhance their heart function from ages 45 to 64. We have demonstrated that if you incorporate regular exercise into your daily life, starting no later than middle age, you can restore the youthfulness of your heart muscle, he says. Levine's subjects followed an exercise program similar to those used by serious athletes, beginning with low-intensity base training workouts 3 times a week for 30 minutes each. After 4 weeks, the subjects began using a little more effort. Later, they added interval training to their regimen and 1 weekly longer workout for at least 60 minutes. During peak training, they work out 4 or 5 times a week for about 180 minutes in total, 30 minutes more than the minimal standard of 150 minutes per week, recommended by many fitness guidelines. Some judge this program too hard and time-consuming for many busy adults. Devon disagrees, noting that his subjects completed 88% of their assigned workouts, with nearly a quarter hitting 97%. Exercise is so important that people should think of it as part of their personal hygiene, like brushing their teeth, he says. Our program isn't difficult to incorporate into your life. You should do one fun activity for at least an hour on the weekend and one hard activity for 30 minutes after your second cup of coffee another day. Then, on another 2 or 3 days, exercise for 30 minutes while you're watching TV. Another new research report from Mayo Clinic Proceedings tracked changes in fitness and mortality among more than 60,000 men and women who were on average in their late 40s at the outset. Those who maintained or improved their fitness over 4.2 years had a 40% lower mortality rate than those who lost fitness due to insufficient activity. While 65 may represent an upper age limit for changes to heart function, consistent exercise can offer other health payoffs to older adults. A study just published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine investigated the walking habits of 139,000 Americans who were nearly 71 years old on average when first monitored. 13 years later, those who reported little to no weekly walking had died at a rate 26% higher than those who walked regularly, but for less than 2 hours a week. Those who walked 2 to 6 hours a week had a mortality rate 36% lower than the under 2-hour walking group. Walking is simple, free, and does not require any training, the researchers concluded. Thus, it is an ideal activity for most Americans, especially as they age, Lamont agrees. Exercise supplies many benefits that can be achieved even if it is started later in life and at low doses, he says. I asked my patients, if there was a pill that could increase your strength, balance, and endurance while reducing the risk of heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, Alzheimer's, and many cancers, would you take it?
Impact Team targets illegal drug use. Camilla Warren said she realized about 5 years ago her hometown was not the same place it was during her childhood. The small fishing village had a growing criminal presence related to heroin use. Her daughter found a hypodermic needle on the ground while she was horseback riding on Old Schoolhouse Road. People witnessed drug deals in the open, including near a daycare center. Certain rental houses were known to be places to buy illegal substances. One deteriorating mobile home had no running water or electricity, but people lived there and dealt drugs. You could feel and see the difference, Warren said. I was angry. It was time to do something. The mother of four called the Dare County Sheriff's Office and helped set up a community meeting in October 2013. More than 100 people showed up in the town of about 1,600. From that meeting, the Sheriff's Office formed the Impact Team, said Sergeant Donovan Buddy Ruth, who heads the group. Just a few years later, they say it's been a success. Arrests and heroin cases have fallen. Dealers have left town, and some of the addicts who got help have remained clean. Back in 2013, Ruth and 2 other deputies started by concentrating their efforts in ranches. The village is more vulnerable to drug trade than many places, he said. Fishing boats take their hauls to large cities along the East Coast. Drugs sometimes follow them back home. Young men leaving for the first time on the fishing rigs get exposed to bad elements. One fishing boat captain became hooked on heroin, nearly ruining his life before he recovered, he said. I've dealt with a lot of boat captains, Ruth said. Ruth and his officers patrolled the narrow roads 12 hours a day, from rows of Marty's house and the boats and crab pots in the yard. They spent evenings watching from unmarked cars seized in earlier drug operations. Supper was often a large pizza delivered to the vehicle. Addicts short on money let dealers use their houses to sell their product, Ruth said. In return, the dealers provided free drugs. In one case, the officers raided a home, but not before the dealer flushed the evidence down the toilet. Determined to get a conviction, they lifted the concrete top of the septic tank and used a fish net to scoop the drugs from the muck, he said. In the first year, the team made 60 arrests, half on heroin charges. The first year, the cases fell to 35, with 15 heroin arrests. Since then, arrests have fallen to under 10 a year. Most of the dealers left town, Ruth said. Ruth took it a step further. He met with young addicts and families at their kitchen tables. They work closely with probation officers and others. Warren has many acquaintances who clean up their lives, she said. 30 people were sent to rehab services, but only 4, maybe 5 have remained clean, Ruth said. New police initiatives don't always work so well, but this team on Outer Banks, concentrating on a small community, has proven successful, said Captain Kevin Dupree of the Sheriff's Office. They have the flexibility to dedicate time to one problem until that problem is solved, he said. The latest area is an affordable housing apartment complex in the Manteo known as Harbor Town, Ruth said. People there have reported drug deals, left the needles lying on the ground. The impact team began this month to knock on doors, talk with the addicts, and search for dealers with hopes of a turnaround similar to that in the Wanjis, he said. The team has also joined patrol officers to curb people stealing from the beach homes in Rodin, Waves, and Salvo. It is a chronic problem in the isolated communities of Hatteras Island. While the homes are empty in the off-season, televisions are a favorite target. Police received a report of 40 to 50 break-ins there in past winters, and most went unsolved. In 2016, the impact team concentrated on the crimes and made arrests in 15 to 20 instances, Ruth said. In one case, 4 people were arrested after officers found 26 stolen televisions. That led to fewer crimes the next year when there were only 5 home break-ins, said Sheriff Doug Jowdy. They do an awesome job, he said. Meanwhile, work in Wanjis continues, Ruth said. Last year, a woman living in a weathered house on the lane died of an overdose. Greg Wynn faces a second-degree murder charge in connection to her death. The team continues to monitor the mobile home without plumbing or electricity.
Billionaire protest pooping geese. By Mary S. Associated Press. Billionaire Tom Golasano says he tried stringing up fishing lines, spraying smelly propellant, and even posting a wolf decoy, but nothing could rid his lakeside vacation home of the Canadian geese that turned his lawn into a mine full of poop. His next line of attack, refusing to pay his $90,000 school tax bill until officials in the Finger Lakes town of South Bristol find a way to control the birds. This past summer it was horrible. We drive in and find 100 to 200 geese parked on our lawn, said Gulasano, founder of payroll company Paycheck and former owner of the Buffalo Sabres hockey team. You can't walk barefoot, can't play frisbee, can't have your grandchildren run around. Here I am, paying all this money in taxes and can't eat my property because of the geese droppings. Goslino's state over bird poop is just one part of this one-man protest company against a taxation system he believes is flawed and inequitable. His pledging to file a class action lawsuit on behalf of other upstate homeowners who believe they are being overtaxed, and he recently launched a website, taxmypropertyfairly.com, to give ordinary taxpayers the tools to challenge their property tax bills. Goslino contends the tax assessors often lack the training, time, and expertise to accurately assign property values that determine what share of the local tax collection each homeowner pays. A lot of people are suffering significant injustice because of the assessment system, said the 76-year-old Goslino, founding member of the New York Independence Party and three-time candidate for governor. Escaping high taxes was part of the reason Goslino changed his permanent home address to Naples, Florida nearly a decade ago. In 2010, he spent $200,000 in legal fees to get the property taxes on his home in Mendon near Rochester reduced from $200,000 to $60,000. He said Western New York is notorious for high property taxes. While his wife, Tennis Hall of former Monica Sales, pays about $4,000 a year in taxes on her New York City condo, assessed at $800,000. Goslino said a home with that assessed value in Rochester area Monroe County would have a $28,000 tax bill. Goslino's fight over the bird poop in the town's South Bristol population 1,600 is based on the argument that the value of his Kennebec Lake property is driven down by the flocks of wild geese that congregate there, and it's government's duty to solve the problem. Town Supervisor Daniel Marshall disagrees. It's a resident's problem to take care of, not the town's, he said. Marshall said no other shoreline residents have complained about the geese. It is a lake, after all. New York's Department of Environmental Conservation says the state has an overpopulation of non-migrating Canada geese and is causing problems for some homeowners, farmers, golf courses, and parks. But it says nuisance wildlife on private property isn't the responsibility of the municipality. Sorry.
Municipality.
There we go. The agency recommends numerous ways to shoo them off, including those Goslino has tried. When it's a community-wide program, the DEC suggests local officials may want to hire a goose control officer and devise a coordinated control plan. That's what Goslino wants. For now, the tax fight remains unresolved. Goslino says that his next step is to seek a reduced property assessment based on the goose scourge. Goslino, whose net worth is listed by Forbes as $3.4 billion, is renowned for his generosity to health care, higher education, and opportunities for those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. There are 3 children's hospitals named for him in Rochester, Sucrose, and Fort Myers, Florida.
Okay, Hitler book found in Italy's suspect's home. A right-wing extremist suspected in the shooting rampage that wounded 6 Africans in central Italy was lucid and determined, aware of what he had done, and exhibited no remorse for his actions, an Italian law enforcement official said Sunday. Luca Traini, 28, remained jailed as police investigated him on multiple counts of attempted murder with aggravating circumstance of racial hatred for Saturday attacks in the Italian city of Macerata. The 5 men and 1 woman were wounded in the 2-hour drive-by shooting spree were from Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia, and Mali, according to RAI state television. Italian authorities said they seized Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf, other publications linked to Nazism, and a flag with a Celtic cross, a symbol commonly used by white supremacists from trainee's home Sunday. Trainee, who is Italian, was an unsuccessful candidate last year in a local election for the anti-migrant Northern League political party. Italy's ANSA news agency quoted acquaintances saying he previously had ties with the neo-fascist Forza Nuova and Casa Pound parties. Photographs released by police showed Trainee with a neo-Nazi tattoo permanently on his forehead and an Italian flag tied around his neck. Colonel Michele Roberti, the Carabinieri commander in Macerata, told Sky TG24 that Trainee demonstrated no remorse for the 2-hour rampage, and it's likely that he carried out this crazy gesture as a sort of retaliation, a sort of vendetta for the gruesome slaying of a teenager a few days earlier.
Child abductions rise amid civil war in South Sudan by Sam Bitnick, the Associated Press. Akobo, South Sudan, it's been almost 2 years since Ding Nachar's 3 young children were abducted from his home, and likely sold for cattle, sitting in South Sudan's opposition-held town of Akobo. The 35-year-old pointed to the dirt beneath his feet. They were playing right there, Micah said. It would be easier if they were dead, because then I could forget. Micah said his 4-year-old daughter and 5-year-old son were likely sold for cattle after being seized by men from the rival Merle tribe. He doubts his 2-year-old son is still alive. 11 children in all were abducted from this area that day, and none has been seen since. It is a little acknowledged tragedy in South Sudan's 5-year civil war. Child kidnappings between clans have increased as people become more desperate amid hunger and a devastated economy, human rights groups said. Child abductions and trafficking in South Sudan is a real issue that requires an urgent response by the government, said Edmund Yakani, Executive Director of the nonprofit Community Empowerment for Progress organization. While tracking child kidnappings is challenging amid the conflict and mass displacement, he said his organization has confirmed abductions in several parts of the country. Those include 11 children seized last year in Abaya in the north, 5 taken between 2012 and 2014 in the Wau area in the west, and 7 in 2016 and 2017 in the Yi area in the south. The United Nations says its Child Protection Team confirmed abductions in the regions of Unity, Central Equatorial, Jonglei, Upper Nile, and Western Equatorial last year, though it didn't have a total number. Although interclan fighting, cattle raiding, and abductions are deep-seated throughout this East African country, Yakani called it a particular problem in Jonglei State, where the town of Akobo is located and where many in the Merle tribe base their livelihood on selling children. During a recent trip to Akobo, the Associated Press spoke with Merle tribesmen who acknowledged stealing and trafficking children for personal gain. The intention is to trade the children for cattle or use them personally, said Theo Ekugangara, a Merle youth leader who knows some of the abductors. One child, no matter what his or her age, can sell for 20 cows, worth about $7,000, he said. Children who aren't sold are kept by families without kids, while girls are groomed for marriage, Akugara said.
Lawmakers' memo does not clear Trump and probe. President Donald Trump was wrong to assert that GOP produced classified memo on FBI surveillance powers cleared him in the Russia investigation. Democratic and Republican lawmakers said Sunday. They expressed hope that Special Counsel Robert Mueller's work will continue without interference. Democrats could seek a vote on publicly releasing their rebuttal memo when the GOP-led House Intelligence Committee meets late Monday afternoon. The committee rejected that move last week, with one Republican member saying revisions were needed so the memo would not endanger national security. The Senate's Democratic leader Chuck Schumer of New York urged Trump to back the public release and said that refusing to do so would show the president's intent to undermine the Russia investigation. The committee's top Democrat, California Republican Adam Schiff, branded the GOP memo a political hit job. He questioned whether the chairman, Representative Devin Nunes, Republican of California, had coordinated with the White House in drafting the document seized on by the president to vent his grievances against the nation's premier law enforcement agencies. The goal here is to undermine the FBI, discredit the FBI, discredit the Mueller investigation, do the president's bidding, Shreve said. I think it's very possible his staff worked with the White House. Nunes was asked during a January 29 committee meeting whether he had coordinated the memo with the White House. As far as I know, no, he responded, then refused to answer when asked whether his staff members had communicated with the White House. He had previously apologized for sharing with the White House secret intelligence intercepts related to an investigation of Russian election interference before talking to committee members. Trump Saturday tweeted that the memo totally vindicated Trump and probe, even as the Russian witch hunt goes on and on, found no echo from 4 committee Republicans who appeared on the Sunday talk show. Representative Brad Winstrup, Representative from Ohio, said, I think this is a separate issue. Representative Chris Stewart, Republican representative from Utah, said, no, it doesn't end that. Representative Will Hill from Representative from Texas said, I don't, when asked whether he agreed with Trump. Representative Trey Gowdy, Republican from South Carolina, asked whether the memo affected the investigation. Said, no, not me. It doesn't. And I was pretty intricately involved in the drafting of it. The Democratic response was more expected. Of course, not at all, said Shreve, asked Senator Dick Durbin, a Democrat from Illinois. No, of course it does not. Lawmakers also said the memo should not impede Mueller. I think it would be a mistake for anyone to suggest that the special counsel shouldn't complete his work. I support his work. I want him to finish it. I hope he finishes it quickly as possible, Stewart said. The memo released Friday alleges misconduct on the part of the FBI and Justice Department in obtaining a warrant under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act to monitor former Trump campaign foreign policy advisor Carter Page and his ties to Russia. Specifically, it takes aim at the FBI's use of information from former British spy Christopher Steele, who compiled a dossier containing allegations of ties between Trump and his associates and Russia. The underlying materials that serve as the basis of the warrant applications were not made public in the GOP memo. Even as Democrats described it as inaccurate, some Republicans quickly cited the memo released over the objections of the FBI and Justice Department in their arguments that Mueller's investigation is politically tainted. The memo's central allegation is that agents and prosecutors, in applying in October 2016 to monitor Page's communication, failed to tell a judge that the opposition's research that provided grounds for FBI suspicion received funding from Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign and a Democratic National Committee. Page had stopped advising the campaign sometime around the end of that summer. Still, research, according to the memo, formed an essential part of the warrant application, but it's unclear how much and what information still collected made it into an application or how much has been corroborated. Republicans say a judge should have known that political actors were involved in allegations that led to the Justice Department to believe Page might be an agent of a foreign power, and accusations he has consistently denied. Okay, this concludes our reading of the Monday Fayetteville Observer. Your radio hosts have been
Chavez McBride
and Beverlyn Seminary. Please continue to listen more local and regional news. We've enjoyed being with you this morning. Thank you for tuning in with us. Have a wonderful day.
Before the Tar Heels hosted Pittsburgh on Saturday, the scouting
See if she's there. I want to make sure I turned it off right.
Speed, sense of urgency. They're only hearing from us every 13 seconds. Said after North Carolina's 96-65 win over the Panthers. If they don't got it by now, he says, if they don't got it by now, we need to start speaking a different language. No need for that. It looked like the coaching staff message is well received throughout the Carolina locker room. Despite a bumpy start, the Tar Heels snapped a rout of the Panthers. Before the game, Williams said he stressed to his